Thoughts to Build On by M.R. KOPMEYER, 32. Chapter 32. Talk. A way to success. How you talk, what you say, to whom you say it, and when, may well determine the degree of your success in life. The foregoing statement is well worth your study and restudy because it may be the most important statement in this entire book. To help you learn, in necessary detail, 1. How to talk. 2. What to say. 3. To whom to say it. 4. When to say it would require an entire book, perhaps an entire set of books, not just this one chapter. So, important as this is to you, we can only consider here a few practical suggestions and hope that you will seek more detailed information from more specialized books. Let's start with how to talk fluently, because that is essential. And let's start with the most horrible example, me. I'm using myself as an example for 2 reasons. First, as a child, I could not talk at all, at least not without stammering so incoherently that I could not recite in school and had to be excused from giving the then required high school senior speech. The second reason for using myself as an example is that I know exactly what I did to change from not being able to talk to being able to talk fluently. From my own experience, I learned that the way to learn to talk fluently is to talk. In the unlikely event that you must start from the poor beginning that I did, you need to know 2 important facts of life. 1. Do the thing and you will have the power. 2. Start by doing what you can do easily, then progress through easy steps to doing the next most difficult thing. Since my stammering was caused by self-consciousness, and since most people are, to some extent, self-conscious, you may benefit by reading this brief account of how I cured it. First, do the thing and you will have the power. So I talked, and I talked, and I talked, and I talked. How? Simply by using the second precept just described. Start by doing what you can do easily, then progress through easy steps to doing the next most difficult thing. In my case, since I stammered, I started by talking silently to myself. I went through all the talking, impulses and motions, but I deliberately did not make a sound. Since I was alone, I wasn't self-conscious, and since I made no sound, I didn't stammer. Then I whispered. No problem. So I whispered louder, and louder, and louder, until I was speaking at, and above, natural volume. In easy steps, I talked to myself in the mirror, then to individuals, small groups, civic meetings, large audiences, from church pulpits and even from the same speaker's platform with a U.S. cabinet member, and finally, broadcast to the world on the Voice of America radio program. So, you can learn to talk fluently, and with much less difficulty than I did, just by talking. Talk to anybody, everybody, nearby, about something. Don't make a speech, just a comment. Make your comment casually, easily, with good humor and friendliness. An unsolicited comment has its own built-in terminal facility. If you do not ask for a reply, you may not get one. So if you want to extend a conversation, ask a question. The first step in opening a conversation with a stranger or in launching a new subject of conversation with anyone is to frankly admit that you don't know something. Then say that you want or need to know about it and ask the person you are questioning if he or she can furnish you the information. A noted conversationalist said that, properly asked, there was almost no limit to the time and trouble another would take to further your education. Since the way to improve your ability to talk fluently is to engage in conversations with as many different individuals and groups as possible, learn the art of asking. It is more accurate, instead of saying, talk your way to success, that we say, ask your way to success. Here's how you can do it. 1. Ask others to give you the information you need to succeed. 2. Ask others to do what you want them to do to help you succeed. 3. Ask others to provide you with what you need in order to succeed. There are proven psychological principles, which are too complex to explain in this brief chapter, that cause people to do what they are properly asked to do, if they reasonably can. Of course, not everyone can or will do everything you ask, but by the law of averages, Enough people will do what you properly ask to make you successful. Also, concerning what to talk about, now would be a good time to reread chapter 20, which describes those big signs all of us wear across our chests, invisible signs which read, I want to be important. I want to be admired. I want to be appreciated. That's what to talk about, the things other people want to hear most about themselves. And be sure to ask leading questions which encourage others to talk about themselves. Then listen. You'll be surprised at how interested listening eliminates your self-consciousness, furnishes you with the best material with which to continue the conversation, and thus improves your own ability to talk your way to success. Well, if you are going to devote much of your time to listening, as you should, when can you practice talking fluently, as you also should? Of course, you should take an active part in every conversation. Brief, but active. That's some practice, but not enough. The best way to learn to speak fluently is to overdo it. Since you can't do that with others without becoming a bore, you'll have to do it alone. Here's how. Practice talking continuously, aloud, to yourself. Pretend that you are a radio announcer and that you have to fill a half-hour by ad-libbing, talking spontaneously, without any silent spaces. If you are alone at home, start by walking from room to room describing what you see. Speak in normal conversational tones. Talk continuously. Describe the furniture, where and when you got it, if it should be replaced or repaired. Describe the walls, ceiling, floor, everything in the room, what you think should be improved, and so on and on. Just keep talking, continuously, fluently. Or, take a drive alone in your car, in the city or in the country. Pretend that you are a narrator, giving a travelogue of what you see as you drive along, and that you must give a continuous, interesting description of it in a conversational tone of voice. Describe the scenery, buildings, people, your impressions of them, and so on and on. If you drive to and from work alone every day, this is an excellent time to practice. To avoid the monotony of describing the same view every day, change routes frequently. Or just take a drive alone several or more times a week to practice talking fluently. If you have a friend who also wants to practice fluent talking, take your drives together. Alternate talking every 10 minutes, vying to see who can give the most interesting and fluent performance of continuous scenic description. Don't overlook the benefits of improving the quality of your speaking voice. Read several of the many excellent self-help books on voice and speaking. Even better, take a speech course with a good instructor. Finally, it is important whom you talk to. The more successful people you talk to, the more successful you yourself will be. While you should, for practice, for good fellowship, and for goodwill, talk often to those of lesser or equal position, be sure to progressively devote more and more of your time to talking with top leaders in your company, in your civic and business community. What can you talk about that will interest them? Remember those big, invisible signs they are wearing across their chests, reading, I want to be important. I want to be admired. I want to be appreciated. Talk to important people in those terms and all of them will always be interested in what you say. Offer to cooperate with important people, especially in helping with their pet civic and charity projects. Your conversation, with your offer to help which it conveys, will always enable you to talk with ease with the most important people. Also, it will lead to new contacts with other important people with whom to talk. Offer profitable suggestions to the top executives of your company. But first, try to be as sure as possible that your idea really will work. Let's face it, a top executive with long experience knows a lot more than a younger employee with much less experience. If that's what you are, that does not preclude your having better and profitable ideas. And you should suggest new ideas frequently. The point I want to make is, play it safe. Always offer your suggestion in the form of a question. Say, I've been wondering about, suggestion. What do you think about it? Or, have we considered the possibility that, suggestion? Or, what do you think would happen if, suggestion? When you offer your suggestion in the form of an unassuming question and it is rejected, you can always say, that is the conclusion I reached to, but because of your greater experience, I wanted your opinion. Also, I thought you might be able to add some ideas that would make it practical. That really gets the top executive involved in your suggestion, and that's one of the secrets of success, involvement with the top echelon. However, if your suggestion is accepted, you made it originally and you will get, or can modestly take, credit for it. Thus, by presenting your ideas in the form of questions, you benefit without risk, whether your ideas are accepted or not. Having learned that you can talk your way to success, and having learned some of the many ways to do it, it is hoped that you will continue to learn more about this exciting and profitable success method from the many helpful sources available.